So that led me on as well, but to start talking about Jack Sullivan. I mean, Jack O'Sullivan. Now, we don't know what's happened to Jack either. I think about his mum every day. Honestly, I do, and I've been wanting to do an update on Jack, but there is no real update as far as I can see. I can't find an though, because what happened with Jack O'Sullivan? He went missing. He went to a party. He was on the text to his mum and things like that, and then he just sort of went off the radar, didn't he? And then his mum has never known since what happened to him. Let me get a bigger picture up. Oh, let's have a look at some. And the reason that made me think about even more about Jack and his mum is I think anyone, as I said at the beginning of this video, anyone with missing relatives, missing loved ones, as soon as remains are found, it must cross their mind, is this my loved one? Must do. And Jack, I think he was 22 when he went missing, but he's had a birthday since because he's been gone over a year. It must cross your mind, isn't it? Your loved one has disappeared and suddenly, all you hear is remains have been found, and it must cross your mind, at least for a moment. And it's like, obviously you don't want it to be them because that means they're deceased. That's your worst fears confirmed, isn't it? But then, of course, you would at least know what had happened to them, because, spending every day wondering if your loved one is being tortured or what's happening to them, or it must. I literally don't know how these poor people get up every morning and go about their normal day. And Catherine, we've seen Catherine. We're going to have a look at an interview with Catherine and his mum. She's a very strong woman. You feel like she's holding the rest of the family together. That's his dad and his brother. Catherine's the one that comes and does like the media type things, gets interviewed, etc. Now they did have they've still got a Facebook page, but you know what? She had to step back from the Facebook page because she was getting trolled. These like ridiculous, what's the word for it? These trolls that go out and say horrible things to families of missing people. And unfortunately, although I think the Facebook group, would have been set up for tips and things like that, they did get a lot of trolls as well. So, yeah. So, although the Facebook page is still there, it's more or less dormant now. They don't write on it very often. They don't put comments on there very often. So yeah, it made me think, and I thought, I wonder if it'll cross Catherine's mind. We think, here we go, we've got remains found. Is it at all possible there might be Jacks? And I'm not only Catherine, but I think anyone who has a missing loved one from anywhere in the UK, really, because especially if people had gone in the sea, they could end up anywhere, couldn't they? Or we don't know if Jack got into a car and went, or Catherine seem to think that it might have got in a car and gone off somewhere. You just don't know, do you, if who it is. So we don't know if it's a man or a woman, so it's likely that it's not Jack. I'm not saying it is Jack, but I'm just saying it must be awful when these things happen for a loved one of any missing person. You'd be sort of, oh gosh, is this them? And sort of torn between this sort of, well, at least you would know what had happened to them, but it confirms your very worst fears that you don't even want to think about. And of course they've got to come up with a cause of death and all that sort of thing, but it's harder with a skeleton to establish a cause of death, isn't it? Unless they're actually if someone's been hit over the head, you can tell with a skull because of the blunt force trauma, etc. But other because it's a skeleton rather than having soft flesh on it, it will be more difficult to establish the cause of death. For example, if the cause of death was drowning, How would you establish that with a skeleton, I wonder? Because there's no lungs, I presume. So yeah, all these things that we just got to wait really. Now, at least now there's, I'm presuming Jack's DNA and the DNA of most missing people will be in some sort of database, won't it? The missing persons database. So thanks to DNA, at least, missing people that have whose families have given over their DNA will be able to either be confirmed or eliminated. So yeah, it's in. Someone's going to get some answers. Hopefully, somewhere along the line, somebody who doesn't know what's happened to their loved one is going to get some answers. That's all we can hope for, isn't it? So let's go to Jack then, in particular. And I'll keep you updated, of course, about what happens with this body, this skeleton. I'll keep you updated. As soon as we hear any more, I will tell you about it. So we're going to have a look at an interview that, let me again put some windows down. We're going to have a look at an interview that Jack's mum did with, I'm afraid it's Talk TV, which is one of my least favourite channels. And also the host that's giving the interview is one of my least favourite hosts. But this is the most recent one that I could find. So this was, I think it was July. I think this was July. So not that long ago that this interview was done with Catherine. That's why I chose it, because it's probably one of the most recent. Okay, so this is Talk TV with Kevin O'Sullivan. Anyway, let me know what you think. I think he's drunk through most of his broadcasts, to be honest, but there you go. Tell me what you think.
I mean, obviously I've read it, but welcome to the show, Catherine.
He always looks just totally pissed off, doesn't he? Like he can't be asked. And he starts off by saying, tell us the story. Obviously, I know it, but blah, blah, blah. I just don't like his attitude at all.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. Now, basically tell us the story. I mean, obviously I've read it, but Jack went to a party.
Maybe he's just got an unfortunate manner. I'm going to give him a break. He might have an unfortunate manner, so I'm not going to say any more about him.
On March the 2nd, his phone remained active until 6:44 a.m. There was one phone call by someone. He picked the phone up, said hello, and then was never heard of again. And there's some sort of mysterious CCTV of him as well. You tell us the story, Catherine.
Okay, well, Jack went out to a party on the night of the 1st of March, which went into obviously the 2nd of March, when he didn't come home that evening. And, we had no reason to be concerned.
Darren loves Kevin. Well, do you know what? I'm going to give him another chance. But I find him very difficult to watch. But anyway, each to their own. Now, Catherine's always so very dignified, isn't she? And, she must just think, gosh, here I am again telling this story again and no answers, But, yeah, so he'd gone to a party, hadn't he? He'd gone to a party. It was a midweek night. It wasn't a weekend. It was with people that she said he didn't know very well. Now, there was some sort of incident at this party. There was definitely some sort of an altercation. There's some talk that he may have banged his head and been a bit disorientated. He then decided to go home. He was supposed to be trying to flag a taxi down. It's quite a mistake. I don't think we do know the whole circumstances. And then he was texting his mum. She offered to go and get him. He said no, he was fine. He was going to get a taxi. Then he tried to phone one of the people at the party. They didn't get the phone call. And then they tried to ring him back, and they said that Jack answered the phone, said hello, and then the phone cut out. So it is a mysterious disappearance, this.
was just a gathering of people who he'd recently met via his studies, because he was doing a law conversion course in Bristol. So, I had a communication from him at about 10 to 2, telling me where he was and how he intended getting home. And, my husband and I went to bed, and I woke up at just before 5:30 in the morning. And I immediately felt something was wrong, because Jack had never stayed out before, and certainly not told us where he was, and it was, alarm bells went off for me very quickly. So we, I immediately rang him, texted him, WhatsApped him, sent messages galore. And obviously we didn't hear anything back. So very quickly, my husband and I got dressed and got into the car and shot off to this address that my phone was kind of telling me he was at. But it was to no avail. There was nobody there. And basically, no sign of him, no communication from him. So we searched around that area ourselves, and then went home and immediately phoned the police, because even though they did tell us you have to wait to report a missing person, I felt...
Now, you can imagine when you ring the police about a 23-year-old or a 22-year-old, as he was then. I often think it, when my son goes out, he's an adult now. So you sometimes he's gone out once, he never came back he went out Friday, he didn't come back till Sunday. No message, no nothing. So the thing is, you sort of start thinking, oh, should I be worried? Well, he's a grown man. Should I be worried? Shouldn't I be worried? Blah, 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 blah. And you can imagine she probably got short shrift from the police, saying, no, my son hasn't come home. Oh, how old is he? Oh, well, he's 22. Oh, well, he's probably, met some girl or gone off partying or whatever. And then you'd be saying to him, no, but he's not like that. And it'd be like, oh, yeah, because they've heard it all before, haven't they? So, the police... I can imagine that she didn't get much joy with the police. I've just got to go and give my dog some water. I've just realised they've got no water in their bowl. Oh, my God, and it's boiling. So I'll put the video back on and go and give them some water, poor things.
Immediately there was a problem here. But we weren't able to report him missing for a few hours, because that's the procedure.
Okay.
And here we are, it's 145 days on, and no sign, or nobody knows anything, nobody's seen anything.
Where was Catherine, where was this last CCTV footage of him? What was that? That was near the party, or what was that after? Well, or is it definitely him? Or
yes, I mean, I can confirm it's him, because I've seen the footage you're actually showing on the screen in front of me now is the footage I found myself that the police had completely overlooked. I do appreciate it's a very long range angle, and
But that's him.
I know.
A mother knows her son's walk, doesn't it? Doesn't
absolutely,
she? Yeah.
That's it. And actually, the footage you're showing now is it's gone again. But there's a very significant piece of footage that the police had in their possession on the very first day of Jack being missing, but they're looking at the wrong angle of the camera. So what they're looking at turned out to be the railings, and the actual footage of Jack right in front of them, they missed until we were on week 12 of him being missing.
How did you find it yourself, this CCTV?
Well, I had alarm bells ringing, because my husband and I would go to the area where we were certain he had been ourselves, just to kind of build up a picture in our own mind of which way he could have.
Now, poor Catherine, she's had to do a lot of the detective work herself, hasn't she? Getting the phone records and all sorts of things. She doesn't feel that the police dealt with it very well. And you can see Catherine's not a sort of person who would normally criticise the police, I get the impression. And I'm not criticising the police, because the police, unfortunately, the truth is, I'm not saying they don't care about Jack, because they do, of course. But they've got so many other things going on, haven't they? So many other things going on. Whereas for Catherine, this is it. This is her son. There's only one case as far as Catherine's concerned. So as a family member of a missing person, you do, I think, have to do quite a bit of work yourself, which is a shame. But, because of the cut down on police resources and everything, that is just, unfortunately, the state of Britain, and probably a lot of places. The person, your loved one, is more important to you, aren't they? So it's unfortunate that Catherine's had to do this. Kathy's had to do this kind of thing herself, but and as time goes on, the police are less and less likely, aren't they, to search for Jack. That's just, unfortunately, a sad fact of life.
Gone, what could have happened? And we came across some police on one of our visits who had been asked to look for CCTV later than what was initially asked for. Well, my immediate question was, why? Why are you looking for later? Surely you've got that. And it became very apparent that only up until a certain time had been collected.
Right.
Which worried me, because my limited amount of detective work would surely say, well, we must look for him until the phone goes dead.
Right.
Yeah. And that hadn't been done. So I asked the police repeatedly, could I see the CCTV myself? And I was told, oh, that was unnecessary. That's not procedure. You can't do that. But I was very persistent. I must admit, I did keep asking.
Well, quite right. Quite right.
And then to find footage, which I was 100% certain as soon as I saw it that it was Jack, to be told, no, we don't think that's Jack. I did have grave concerns at that point. And as I said, where the final footage we have.
What do you think about that? So she's saying that there was footage that she thought was Jack. She is his mum. I think you do recognise your kids, don't you? Or do you think that it's just she so wanted it to be Jack that would the police say, no, we don't think it's Jack? And she's saying, yeah, I think it is Jack. Who do you think is more likely to be not truthful, because it's not, who's more likely to be correct, the mum or the police?
To me, it's very clear that it is Jack.
And I was what sort of time was that, and whereabouts was that?
So that was, the exact time of it is 3:39.
Mm-hmm.
And it is walking up a slip road, kind of against the traffic, back up on. So on the shot that you're looking at now, mm-hmm. he is walking on the left-hand side of that.
Right.
And walking along a slip road. And I was told categorically by the police, there is nobody on that footage that appears to be Jack.
That's ridiculous.
I saw it and I knew it was Jack.
Listen, Catherine, what I'm going to do now is tell our audience that you have a Facebook page called Find Jack, and there's a GoFundMe page, and that is called Raising Money to Help Find Jack -official. Raising money to help find Jack -official, and there's a Facebook page called Find Jack. So I urge everyone to put some money in for a start, and secondly, maybe have a look at Find Jack. You never know, people might be able to help. But you were indicating there, Catherine, that you're less than happy with the police's conducting of this case. Avon and Somerset Police, you've lodged a complaint against them. Just trying to explain why.
Well, nobody wants to be in this position, obviously, but our concerns were building with all the mistakes that we were finding out. And we were advised to ask for a re-review of the case. And we were told then the only way you can get a case re-reviewed is to complain So we were kind of, I wouldn't say we were completely forced into it, but that's all we were pleading was for somebody else to cast a set of eyes over some of these grave errors and try and put them right. You know, our biggest problem is the fact that so much time has passed that, you know, we've lost that precious opportunity of people's knowledge, memory, dash cam footage, you know, doorbell footage.
Well, do you have any, I mean, it's difficult to speculate. Do you have any personal theories about what might have happened to him?
I really, really don't. I mean, you know, I'm watching him walk along. He's walking with purpose. I know he's attempted to get a taxi prior to his setting off on that journey. Do
you think he was trying to walk home then, or?
No, well, by the time we see him walking in the direction he is, I believe that he was heading back to an area that he always took taxis from because that was a common place for him. So, you know, we can't find any phone knowledge that suggests he tried to book a taxi via an app. But, you know, that's my firm belief was he was trying to pick up a car, you know, taxi.
To get home. Well, listen, I mean, you know, obviously our hearts go out to you and what a terrible thing to happen to you. But try to sum up how it's been, how you feel. I mean, it must be a living nightmare for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. We're in hell, basically. You know, we get through a day mostly by our drive to find out what to do next.
You know, they say, I'll tell you what, next time you think you're having a bad day, just think you're not having a day as bad as Catherine's having. I just think you must be like, you wake up in the morning, for a minute, I expect you think it's all been a bad dream, I don't know. And then you've got to put one foot in front of the other, not only to try and find Jack, but of course, Catherine's got her husband to think about, her other son to think about. You know, you've got, to me with Catherine, I feel like she's keeping going because she's the one that's keeping everybody going. I don't know who keeps her going, probably just her drive, like she says, to see her son again. She must just be desperate to see him again and know that he's okay. And, you know, this day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, and now we're over a year since Jack disappeared. So you can't, it's difficult to feel optimistic, isn't it? But she needs answers one way or another. You know, there's a lot of water around where Jack was walking, but I know a lot of it has been searched. But, you know, we know that bodies that go into water, people that go into water, they're not easy to find always, are they? But this is a long time that, of course, Jack hasn't been found. Just hope she gets some answers eventually. I mean, it'd be nice if there were positive answers, the answers she wants. I expect she would love to just give him a big hug. I hope she gets to do that one day. But some answers surely are better than nothing.
You know, that is keeping us going at the moment. And, you know, the general public, complete strangers are really helping us. But it's so hard, you know, because it's very hard to make sense of the fact that Jack's not here. You know, that in itself is breaking our hearts. But
I can
to know that there's knowledge that has been sort of overlooked is really compounding it.
So
yeah.
listen, just quickly before you go, and we'll keep in touch, and whatever we can do to help. You know, obviously we're here, and we do have some sort of audience, so hopefully somebody might know something. But just before you go, Catherine, it's very kind of you to talk to us, by the way. Just a little bit about Jack. Tell us about what kind of kid he was.
Well, Jack is a very.
Yeah, sorry, my mistake.
It's fine. It's my special thing. I do correct everyone. For me,
I shouldn't have said that.
I mean, that's so easily done. So I can't criticise if that's so easily done when you're talking to, you know, talked about him in the past tense, and I know Catherine is always at pains to speak about Jack in the present tense, because she has to think, that he will come back. She has to stay positive. I just realised I've got the same surnames, haven't they? Kevin O'Sullivan, and Jack O'Sullivan.
You're damn right. You're damn right. Tell me what kind of kid Jack is.
Jack is, I would say, the most determined, obstinate, difficult, charming, lovely young man. I mean, if there's a right or a wrong, Jack will move for hell and earth to get it right. Very clever, and a real high achiever, but in a very understated way. So, you wouldn't hear him. He'd be very quietly in the background, taking it all in. But very ambitious, and a real, a credit to us, but a very loving son, and a loving brother. So, as you can imagine, our world is not as it was.
It's just so awful, and
bless.
You'll find him. Let's hope you find him. But we will keep in touch, Catherine. As I say.
Oh, look, you can see she's filling up because she's just been holding it together all the way through that interview, and then as soon as she's talking about him and like that, she's filling up. Bless her. I bet as soon as she comes, she's always so calm and collected on the interviews. I bet as soon as the camera goes off, she just dissolves into tears, and you can see that she's filled up there. Bless her.
I'll read this out again to everybody. Go to Facebook, have a look at the Find Jack page. You might be able to help. Or the GoFundMe page is called Raising Money to Help Find Jack Official. And tell me what the reward pot is right now, Catherine, if you can.
Well, the reward was essentially put in place for information. It's not, to me, it feels slightly immoral to ask somebody to pay someone to
anything that helps, though. Anything that helps.
We'll try anything. It was a suggestion, and we just said, fine, if that's the advice, we'll take it.
And how much? So just in case there is somebody out there who who's got information and fancies some money, how much? Is it?
Well, the reward is set up for £20,000.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Catherine. Well, listen, as I say, our hearts go out to you, obviously. My best to your family, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you very much for talking to us. That's Catherine O'Sullivan, mother of Jack O'Sullivan. You just heard that story. Can you imagine the hell that family, then poor Mrs. O'Sullivan there? What an awful thing to happen.
Yeah. Very awful, very awful. So that was the last interview that I could find that she did. That was just done a few weeks ago in July. I think just before we finish, we'll just have a look at the Facebook page. As I say, she hardly ever updates it now. The last update from Catherine was the 10th of July. Where she was letting everybody know that they now have a PO box set up, so anyone can pass on any information, and it can be sent to the address at the end of this message. This can be done anonymously if you so wish. Could you please share this with as many people as possible? Actually, I haven't shared it. I need to share that. All we would ask is that the PO box is kept strictly for relevant information and not for speculation or theories. So the thing is, she's trying to control the social media, really, because the problem for Catherine is that the place she's in, what's happening to her. She needs social media to try and get the message out as much as possible. But as we know, social media is good for that. It's nothing better than social media for getting a message out. But unfortunately, it comes with negative things as well, doesn't it? So, you have to be sort of ruthless with the trolls, really. Because that's what's happened basically to Catherine. So, with the case of her son, it's good that as exposure grew and more people got to know about Jack being missing, that's a good thing. But also it brings a load of false information and trolls in as well, doesn't it? So you've got to be have a pretty thick skin to cope with social media. I know that just from being on YouTube, never mind having a missing son or whatever. It's difficult to cope with people being horrible. We've seen it in the John George case. We've seen it in Jay Slater, in Nicola Bulley, all those cases. People just lose their head a little bit, don't they? And they seem to think that it's okay to attack people who are grieving or whatever. But that, if you want, a good amount in your GoFundMe, or you want a good amount of publicity, you have to take the good with the bad. That is the way it is. There's no point whinging about it. There's no point in questioning it. It is as it is, and human nature has always been the same. It's just now with social media, it feels like everyone's turned into a troll. But they've not. They've always probably been those nasty kind of people around, but they used to send poison pen letters, didn't they? That would be something people did years ago. Send people anonymous letters or make anonymous phone calls. Stuff like that, which you can't really do now. It's difficult to make an anonymous phone call now unless you've got burner phone or something. So unfortunately, Catherine's, had to sort of see that, and it's a shame. But anyway, it's the way it is. So most people, 99% probably of people, care about Catherine finding, and the family finding Jack. Their heart is in the right place, and sometimes people's heart is in the right place when they give it what turns out to be false information. Not everybody does it from a snidey point of view, like they've had she's had contact from people saying, oh, they kidnapped him and asking for ransom, like with Jay Slater and things. I'm not talking about those people. Some people are genuinely think they're helping, but it turns out to be a false sighting or false information, but they don't know that. So there's a lot of that to sift through, isn't it? So yeah, that's the PO box. If anybody knows anything and wants to contact anonymously, the PO box is on the Find Jack website, and I think the last one before that. Yeah, now this is interesting. So I'd just like to say how much my family and that, this was the 7th of June, how we appreciate the support that has come from sharing our information and supporting our search for Jack. We've been quiet for a while, but we are still constantly working behind the scenes on getting answers. And unlike the authorities, we follow up on all information that comes our way. We will never give up, as we are more certain than ever that someone knows what has happened to Jack and where he is. And we ask again for any information to be shared with us via our page. So there's an email there as well that you can contact. Please do the right thing and pass on any information that could help us find Jack and bring him home. Stop and think for a minute. If this was your son, brother or friend, how would you feel after all this time? We are just a normal family that are completely broken without our Jack. It's been 15 months of unimaginable hell. Please do the right thing and share any information that could help us. Many thanks. So that's a personal message from Catherine on her Facebook page, on the Find Jack Facebook page. So yeah, I just wanted to go over Jack's case again. I will do every now and again. Hopefully I won't have to for long, if something will come up and Jack's mum and the rest of the family will get to find out what's happened to him, and hopefully it'll be positive. But anyway, I wanted to talk about